My mom makes this recipe every single Easter, and it's good. It's a solid recipe, but I think I can take it to the next level. This is the superior stuffed shells recipe everyone needs. In the US, this is much more of a special occasion recipe or even for holidays, but in Sicily, this is an extremely common dish that you would serve up for lunch or dinner on Sundays. It's incredibly delicious, not too hard to do. Here we go to start off with some prep. Sound good? Let's cook. You know the routine. We are going to small dice up a yellow onion. You could, of course, use a sweet or a white onion here. After you slice off the ends, slice it in half, remove that outside peel. Just simply small dice them and set them to the side. Next, we need to finely mince up some garlic. Oh, wait a minute. What is that? Can we just stop for a second and celebrate? I found my garlic press. It was in the back of my junk utensil drawer shoved up underneath some things, but I got it. So let's use it. We are going to run 2 whole garlic cloves right through this garlic press. I'm so glad I found this thing. Get all that goodness into a bowl. Next, I have 5 ounces of baby spinach. This equates to about 4 cups of very packed baby spinach. We are just going to roughly chop this all over. It does not need to be perfect in any way. Set it to the side in a bowl. Let's grab the onion and the garlic that we prepped up. Head over to your cooktop. I have a large rondeau pot. You can use a large pan. We are going to add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Turn the heat to medium. Next, let's add those onions in there. The goal here is to get a nice light and brown on them. Get them translucent. This takes about 10 minutes. Stir occasionally until it looks just like this. Perfect. At this point, we are going to add in the finely minced garlic that we ran through the press. You know my philosophy. Once you can smell it, it's done. Maybe a minute or so. Perfect. At this point, we're going to add in 8 ounces of sweet Italian sausage, followed up with 8 ounces of ground meat. I'm using 85-15 lean to fat ratio. Let's turn the heat up to medium high. The reason we're doing this because we want to get a nice little sear on all of that meat. It's just going to help add to the flavor. Make sure to use the spoon to sort of chop it up into small little bite-sized pieces. I'll tell you later why we need to do this. Once it is cooked through and lightly brown, we're going to grab that baby spinach and pour all of that goodness in there. Now, the beautiful thing about baby spinach is that it cooks very, very quickly. So once it's in there, begin to move it around. Maybe after 30 to 45 seconds, the spinach will start to wilt and look just like this. Let's stop the cooking process immediately. Transfer that pan over to a plate or a platter. We're going to spread all of this goodness on there. This is just to help cool it more quickly. Instead of putting it in a bowl where it's stacked up, we're going to the refrigerator, put it in there until it is completely cool. Don't worry, we've got a lot of other stuff to do. Got a large pot of boiling water. Be sure to salt it so that it's as salty as the ocean. Next, we're going to add in 1 12-ounce package of jumbo shells, also known as conchiglie. The reason we're using this whole package is because some of them will rip and tear in the cooking process, which should leave us with plenty to stuff up. Gently, and I mean very gently, stir these because, again, they will want to rip and tear. So after about 8 to 9 minutes, or according to the package instructions, let's give them a quick drain. And you could rinse them gently under cold water, but I'm a little nervous, so I'm going to dunk them in a cold ice water bath to chill them. This is only going to take like 30 seconds. Seriously, they chill so dang quick. Now what we're going to do is just spread them out on a sheet tray lined with parchment paper. No need for oil. They will not stick with each other. And at this point, once they look just like this, just simply set them to the side. Now, if you see some other recipes out there, they just use usually a tomato sauce. Now, I'm going in with 2 sauces, a red sauce and a white sauce. The first one is my Pomodoro sauce. If you haven't seen it, check out that video. If not, here's a quick recap. 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a rondeau pot, medium-high heat. 1 finely grated peeled yellow onion. Cook for 10 minutes or until lightly browned like this. Next, add in 4 finely minced garlic cloves. Cook for 1 minute or until it becomes very fragrant. Next, add 5 pounds of fresh tomatoes or 3 28-ounce cans of San Marzano tomatoes to a blender. Blend on high speed until smooth. Next, remove the lid. Then we're going to pour all of this pureed tomatoes right to that rondeau pot. Be sure to take that blender and run some water on there and pour it back in there. There's a lot of goodness in there. Cook for 30 minutes or until reduced by about 25%. Add 15 to 20 fresh basil leaves. Season well with salt and fresh cracked black pepper. Stir until the basil leaves are mixed in, which infuses a lot of flavor. Then set it to the side and keep it warm. And yes, I always make the full batch. It freezes super well, and it's in so many of my Italian recipes. Why not just pull it out of the freezer and use it? Exactly. Now for the bechamel sauce, you can see it in its entirety in my lasagna bolognese, or I'm going to quickly show you how to do it right now. Medium size pot, 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Turn the heat to low. Once it becomes melted like this, we're going to add in 6 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Grab a whisk and whisk everything until it is completely mixed to form a roux. At this point, we're going to add in 4 cups of whole milk. Be sure to use whole milk here. Turn the heat up to high. What this will do will activate the roux. Be sure to whisk for the first minute or two until it becomes very thick once it's boiling, just like this. Turn the heat down to low. Next, half onion. Use a small knife, cut a slit in the top. Add in 1 bay leaf to that little slice. Next, we're going to add in 1 clove. Just push it in there. Take that whole onion. We are going over to the pot. Let's add it in there. We're just going to cook it in there for maybe 15 minutes to infuse the flavor. At this point, season with salt, cracked white pepper, and a little bit of nutmeg. Stir it in until completely mixed in. Then at this point, strain through a fine mesh strainer or a chinois. Scrape it, push it through, make sure you get all of that goodness out, and then keep it warm next to the pomodoro sauce. The sauces are finished up, and let me just encourage you, taste it. See how flavorful they are and how many amazing different dishes they could go in. Okay, now it's stuffing time. We need 2 tablespoons of roughly chopped fresh basil, or about 10 to 15 large basil leaves. Just chop them, add them to a large bowl. Now what we need to do is cut up some mozzarella. Instead of shredded mozzarella, I like to use a whole block of mozzarella. And what we're going to do is small to medium size dice it. Make sure those knife cuts are perfect here, and I'll explain why shortly. Once it is cut up, we're only going to take half of it and add it to this mixture. Reserve the other half. Now what we want to do at this point is go grab the cooled sausage, ground meat, spinach, onions, garlic mixture, and add it right to this bowl. And for any of those folks out there that want to keep this vegetarian, obviously do away with the meat and replace it with 1 cup of that chopped up mozzarella. You're welcome. Here's what we do now. Add in 16 ounces of cold whole milk ricotta to this mixture. We're now going to add in 1 cup of finely grated Parmesan cheese, 1 large egg, and at this point, be sure to season this very, very well with sea salt and fresh cracked black pepper. Do not skip out on this. This is your stuffing and all your flavor. Use a spoon or rubber spatula and mix everything until it is completely combined. Now you have a few options here. The first one, you can use a smaller spoon and stuff up each shell just like this. This works excellently. You know me, I'm going to take it to the next chef level. I always learned how to do this by putting the stuffing into a piping bag that I just cut the end off of. There's no tip for this. Just add half of it right to that piping bag. That's all that will fit in here. And then give it a twist at the end. What this will do is push all that stuffing down to the bottom. Absolutely perfect. Now grab a shell and simply pipe it all in there until it's completely full, just like this. Add it to the side to a sheet tray lined with parchment paper until all the shells are completely stuffed up. Everything is finished. Now it is assembly time, and here is how I do it. You're going to add about 2 cups of the pomodoro sauce right to a very large 13 by 9 casserole dish. You may want to add a little more, completely up to you. Spread it out so that it's evenly on the bottom. Next, I'm going to add in 1 cup to 1.5 cups of that bechamel sauce. There is no rhyme or reason for how to pour this on. Just put it however you'd like. Now add in those stuffed shells right on top of the sauces in the casserole dish. Line them up right next to each other. Now I have about 7 to 8 extra shells, totally fine. This actually freezes very well for up to 3 months covered. I'm just going to add them with a little more sauce to a separate small casserole dish. Now what you can do is add on a little bit more pomodoro and a little bit more bechamel if you'd like. Then I have about 3/4 cup of shredded Parmesan cheese. Sprinkle that all over the top. And then remember that leftover cut up mozzarella. Yeah, that's not going to waste at all, my friends. We are going to sprinkle that all over the top. Going to the oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to take in between 25 and 30 minutes for this to be nice and browned up. Those fundamental basics, I say it all the time, they're so important. From cutting a vegetable to pan searing something to making a sauce. When you do these things over and over again, it will guarantee to elevate your everyday cooking, and that is what I'm all about. Let's pull this thing out of the oven and plate it up. This smells incredible. Seriously, if you guys don't make this, you are crazy. Look at that bubbling goodness. We are going to finish it off with some fresh chopped parsley, and if you want a little bit of fresh chopped basil, of course, let's take a scoop out and see what we're working with here. Just so good, so comforting, and always brings me back to when my mom makes it on Easter. And if you love this, oh my gosh, you have got to try my spaghetti pasta carbonara. It is insanely delicious, and I'll see you there.